Gators land a commitment from 4-star wide receiver Justin Williams out of Buchholz High School in Gainesville, Florida. 6 foot. Some have him listed at 5'11", so I don't know which one he is. 190 pounds. Land him over FSU, Kentucky, Missouri. What is his 247 ranking? It's like
235. 235.
So ranked 235th in the country on 3. The On 3 industry has him at 188 right now, so On 3 industry has him a bit higher. On 3 has him at 150.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
I have it. On 3 has him listed as 150th, 247 at 193, ESPN 272, and Rivals as an unranked 3-star. I know on the composite he wasn't even ranked until March, like early to mid-March. So he's only been in the rankings for less than 3 months now. So he has a lot of room to still grow. And, he's in that 200-ish ranges depending on where you're looking. You can go ahead now.
Oh, all I was gonna add was that his 247, like their own ranking of him is 193. Yep. So he's 235 in the composite. But yeah, so I mean there's just kind of, I guess, probably one outlier, probably Rivals or something. It's kind of, you feel like Rivals is usually the outlier if there is one. Yeah.
And ESPN has him at 272. ESPN also hasn't updated in a while, to my knowledge, so he could get a rise from there. But due to the rankings, and he's already jumping up boards this quickly out of Buchholz, he had 1,400 receiving yards and over 1,400 and over 1,000 rushing yards and 43 touchdowns. I mean, he was going crazy for Buchholz, carrying that offense. I know he had a good quarterback last season, who's some good quarterback's son. I can't remember who it is, but he transferred out to go play in California, I believe. I've heard rumors that they're going to play him a lot at running back this year because they're not going to have as good of a QB, so it not make as much sense to have him go out catch it, receiving the ball, which sucks a little bit because if you can put more tape on as a receiver, which is where the Gators are taking him, maybe he could rise up even more. When I was looking at his film a bit, the thing that kind of stood out to me, he was kind of like a jack of all trades. He wasn't he's not the fastest guy. He's not Trey Wilson. He's not Trey Wilson. He has good speed, but he can also run routes pretty well, better than I'd say Trey Wilson could coming out of high school. And we've seen a lot from him this year. Really good at pinpointing the ball and going up for contested catches. I think he's someone who's going to play the slot for us mostly, but can also still be a deep threat, which we haven't really had much under Billy Napier. Mostly Trey Wilson's played a lot of the slot for us, so it's not something we've seen too much of. But now you're looking probably an offense at UF that's going to be able to put a lot of players to go downfield and ask any of them to do it and not let the offense be so one-dimensional. Another thing that really stood out to me about his game was his balance. Making a lot of spin moves and juke moves. He was always able to stay on his feet and keep a lot of his momentum, and he was able to break tackles. I saw multiple clips where you would think he was fully down and players stopped running because it looked like he was easily tackled right there, but he's able to keep his feet up and able to take those for long yardages and touchdowns. So I really like this take here.
Yeah, kind of an interesting build. He's sort of built like a bit of a hybrid guy. I almost wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, seeing as he's kind of made that transition to running back, I wouldn't be surprised if they're, especially because of how much Florida values the running back position. I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking him to be almost like a designated guy that makes plays out of the backfield and can run the ball, obviously, if you need him to. Because I don't know if Florida necessarily has. I mean, I think Florida's backs currently have versatility, but I don't know if they have a true guy that you can line up in the backfield and run it with him, throw it to him out of the backfield, have him line up in the slot, like you said. I'm not sure that guy really exists on the team right now. So I think that's why this is intriguing to me. I don't know if he's necessarily going to become an every down player, but I think he has a lot of, if you can avoid the jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, I think you have an intriguing playmaker here.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to get someone this highly ranked right out of your backyard in Gainesville, Florida. Recently, Florida started to push for him. I think we talked about it last week as if the Gators make a full push for him this weekend, we'd be very shocked if he doesn't end up a Gator and ends up a Gator this quickly. So Really good move. Billy Gonzalez, his development is really something that's standing out to all these receivers we are going after. And this is the history he has last season, putting 2 receivers in the NFL. And now he's starting to get a bunch of recruits. You look at a receiver room, now JMS is a transfer, but Dallas Wilson, 5-star. Vernell Brown, 5-star. Ada Mizell, I mean, Kiri Colbert recruited these guys, so, but Billy Gonzalez gets to develop them. Ada Mizell and Trey Wilson, Nashawn Montgomery, top, I think it was like 170th, but it was like one site that was a 3-star that was holding you from like top 100 range. So Billy Gonzalez getting these elite talents now to go along with the development that we've seen from him for a long time here at UF.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of how it works. Like I think the proof of concept with guys that maybe weren't as highly recruited, and now you're, I think, seeing a lot more success. And I think it's interesting to me that even with Florida taking all the guys that you mentioned last year, all those high level, top 100 or at least in that range kind of players, like their board this year, their receiver board is pretty full. Like there's a couple elite players they're pushing for in the mix for. They've got some backup plans in there. Like we'll get into it, but there's a couple guys who I think like at the receiver position that kind of seem to me like they're takes if Florida want them to be, like they'll be Gators if Florida wants them to be takes. So you've kind of got like plan A's, plan B's, like the receiver recruiting for something that I don't know if it really felt like a strength earlier in the Billy Napier tenure, although obviously you did have that class with Trey and Mizell and Andy Jean. I feel like is really becoming a strength for this staff with recruiting.
It's taken that next step.
Yeah.
It went from good to, great. I mean, I don't know how else you can describe it when you land basically 2 5-stars and another guy that's like still a high 4-star, but you still consider him underrated.
Yeah.
But you talked about the receiver board, being a bit congested now. You take Justin Williams, who's probably your slot receiver. You look at the roster, you still have Vernell Brown, who's going to be a slot receiver, Tank Hawkins, and TJ Abrams. So, I mean, assuming all those guys stay, you're looking at next year with 4 slot receivers. Even if one of them leaves, probably one of Abrams or Hawkins, still you're looking at 3. You're probably not trying to take another slot in this class, which brings up the question about Darian Williams. Or is it Williams?
I think so, right?
I think so. Somebody Williams, receiver.
Yeah, Darian Williams.
Yeah,
Darian Williams. Yeah.
Who's a 4-star receiver who's committed to FSU. I mean, he's still a 4-star, really quick player. And it's someone that before last year is someone that you'd be like, oh, we probably take him. He's a 4-star with really good speed. But now he's someone that you're probably not going to take unless something happens. I know I've also heard people think that Williams has a higher upside at DB, which maybe is something to look out for. I don't know if he just only wants to play receiver or what's going to happen there, but you're probably looking at him as not a take. I heard also when he left the facility today, he was like sick or something. So maybe something happened there. Maybe he's just sick and we're looking into things too much, but it's interesting to see what happened there. But then look at the other receivers on the board. You're probably looking at taking 3 or 4 wide receivers. I mean, you have Sedarian Morgan, who just named Florida one of his top 2 teams, number 1 or number 2. Then you have Calvin Russell from out of Miami, near 5-star, like in the 50s, I think, or 40s, who you're also going after, big 6'5" guy. You got Davion Gross, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, who's taking an official visit next week. I think he's in the 50s or 40s, who's 6'1", a lot more speed than Williams. So maybe a bigger slot, maybe also play outside. I'm not exactly sure. Then you have Marquez Daniels, 6'4", 6'5", also out of Alabama, 50-50 with Auburn right now. And you got the unranked player, Brian Williams, out of Lake Mary, I think, who's also 6'5", is a 3-star. And still, I haven't even mentioned Samarian Wingo, who we got an RPM to lands, who also visited, who's 6'3", great speed. I've been really high in Wingo for months now. When he was ranking like 250s, now he's ranked like 152 or something like that. So, I mean, I thought we were probably going to go 3, but I'm hearing some things that suggest we might be going 4 receivers this class.
Which is pretty wild after taking 3 last year. But I mean, again, they're Oh yeah, true. Yeah, sorry.
We
Apologies
each
to
last week I was forgetting about Muiz Tunkora.
yeah,
This week you are.
apologies. Yeah, apologies to Muiz Tunkara. We really disrespecting him here. No, he had taken 4 last year. I mean, you're gonna lose what are you gonna lose? Probably Trey Wilson, probably Jamichael Sturdivant. Khalil, I
Khalil
guess,
Jackson.
probably. Yeah, Khalil Jackson too. So yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of your top contributors there. I mean, I guess you could lose. I mean, I guess Aiden Mizell theoretically, if he had like a breakout year, or the opposite if he doesn't, could lose him.
I wouldn't say
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
Rob.
yeah, I mean, I think you always want to get good receivers. But I see your point though. I think we're stacked for this season. I think it's looking good for this year. We'll see. Obviously, got to actually see Dallas Wilson and oh my god, Vernell Brown. You got to see them actually do it. Go out in the field and do it. But I think looking pretty good for the future there, I'd say.
Yeah, and interesting here. Billy Napier does his tweet as always with the sunglasses emoji. He tweeted the 2 for the 2 commitments we just got. And he tweeted a ... after it, meaning we're probably gonna get another commitment, probably not tonight, because I haven't heard much about another one tonight, but here real soon. I'm hearing we're gonna have another commitment within the next week. Like not next week's OVs, but Monday to Friday. We're probably getting another commitment. So, we only have 6 commitments now, but it's looking to jump up a lot. And you still have those like 10 players who have commitment dates set for early July. It's looking really good here for UF now.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get into this a little bit more when we go over the weekend as a whole. But you and I talked, like, we kind of talked about this off air. Like, this is probably, since official visit season started, the weekend with the most smoke coming out of it for Florida to get the guys that they had on camp, either get or change their positioning for
higher level guys, I'd say.
Yeah,
because I think we're gonna get like 10 players from last week, but that includes like 5 players ranked outside the top 200.
Yeah, but I'm also saying like immediate smoke. Like, I mean, Florida's gotten 2 commits today on Sunday. There might be another one coming tonight or tomorrow. There's a couple guys, again, we'll get into it in more detail, but there's a couple guys that it seems like Florida really did a lot of good work this weekend to bolster themselves in the race. Maybe they're still chasing someone, but they're in the race a lot to a much greater extent after this weekend.
And if I'm going to predict who the next commit is, so from what I'm hearing, it's going to be someone pretty exciting. So it's not the name I'm thinking of, but the name that first comes to my mind is Kakua Amua, who's a 3-star tight end. He's from Hawaii, plays at IMG. I heard he only had like 3 catches last season. So it's like, is it 3-star in the late 600s, I think? So maybe he puts on more film and he could jump up the rankings. When's the last time we got like a Polynesian player to come to UF?
That's a good question. Like, was John Jalapio Polynesian? I think he was. But I'm trying to there's not a lot of examples I can think of off the top of my head. No, I mean, that's a journey, man. Talk about, I mean, he's already in Florida, I guess, going to IMG, so they've already done it, but talk about having to fly from Hawaii to Florida to see your kid play.
So his mother and grandmother have visited us 3 times as well with him. So crazy, even for unofficials, there are kids whose mothers only take 1 visit with their son, and they were like 50, and they're a couple hours away. They've flown from Hawaii because they live in Hawaii.
They didn't just confirming, they didn't move to Bradenton or anything like that. They're still in Hawaii. That's crazy.
And he goes by the nickname Rhino as well. Nice. Pretty good nickname for a tight end.
I like that. Tight end with that, I mean, it's pretty big. I guess I get it. It makes sense.